The Ready Set Grow podcast is sponsored by Ag Expert, software designed for Canadian agriculture. Visit them today at agexpert.ca.
Hello, welcome to the Ready Set Grow podcast, where we with leaders in the ag tech industry. I'm Michael Dales with RHA Ventures, and today I'm sitting down with Dr. Rozita Dara, the co-founder of AI4Food and professor in the School of Computer Science at the University of Guelph, and Joe Dales, co-founder of RHA Ventures. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Dr. Dara, we'd love to hear about your background and how you came to agriculture, especially from the privacy data governance space, and a little bit about the founding story of AI4Food initiative.
Thank you very much. I'm a faculty professor at the School of Computer Science, University of Guelph. I'm also the founder and co-director of Artificial Intelligence for Food at the university. I did my PhD in AI and basically the data mining at the University of Waterloo. I worked at BlackBerry on mobile health platforms. And then I went to Information Privacy Commissioner's office where I led a project with University of Toronto on agent-based privacy preservation, which right now is a very timely topic. At that point, we were thinking it's too futuristic, but now the future is agentic. So either you protect privacy or analyze data. The concept is the same. So when I came to University of Guelph, I wasn't quite sure if I want to work in agriculture and food in the beginning, but I gradually started working on projects such as with Vineland Innovation and Research Center on a project mushroom harvesting. Then I worked on disease modeling, mastitis, and also then I gradually became interested. We created a firm with Ontario Veterinary College, and I started working on building with my team, my students and postdocs, building decision support system for monitoring and prediction of avian influenza. So again, gradually, step by step, knowing the agriculture and food ecosystem, I became more interested in various topics that are important to this sector. When blockchain became a buzz, then governance, I was talking about governance, but I think the agriculture and food community they weren't very much ready for this topic. But with blockchain, it completely changed the paradigm. So people started realizing that if they need to build a blockchain, they need to work with the stakeholders. They need to talk about data sharing, data ownership, governance, who controls what. And governance became a thing, a problem as part of AI and, data-driven technologies. So again, gradually my governance and AI background, they merged together and I felt I can contribute to this sector by bringing my expertise and also my team, my students, and my highly qualified personnel.
That's terrific. We're glad to have you helping us in agriculture. We see huge potential with AI in the agri-food space and lots of opportunities, lots of things to be invented that will help us be more productive and so on. Can you tell us a little bit about your initiative and then why it's so important to support the agri-food space right now?
So a very good question. So first of all, I want to say I'm privileged to be at the University of Guelph working with the world-known researchers. So I'm a computer scientist. I have to collaborate for projects. So what I felt, this was a very timely project. First of all, from AI, I at least at the point we started, there wasn't an AI initiative in Canada or worldwide, at least European partners that I collaborate with around AI and agriculture and food. And also AI by nature, inherently, it is interdisciplinary. If you want to develop an AI that is trustworthy, useful to the end user, it requires an interdisciplinary approach. And also AI it's becoming mainstream. Public will use it, farmers will use it, children will use it. It is important to consider some of the aspects, for example, social and legal aspect that in the past, because AI was kind of confined to in an organization, then they would control everything. But right now the control is much harder, so we have to embed some of those requirements into the AI system. So I thought this is a perfect place. First of all, University of Guelph, world-known research programs around agriculture and food and veterinary medicine with my colleagues who are world-known. And also we have capacity engineering and computer science. So many of my colleagues already apply their expertise to agriculture and food. So if we focus on developing AI solutions that are useful for the end user, that has impact and are trustworthy, I thought this would be a perfect ecosystem, and not to mention startups, venture capitals like yourself, who are located in the Toronto, Waterloo, which we consider to be Silicon Valley of Canada, the area, a triangle. I thought this is a perfect location to start this initiative and build the ecosystem. But the idea is around obviously developing AI tools, AI solutions that, again, useful and trustworthy and reliable and effective, but also have an interdisciplinary approach. Looking into the potential impact on communities, looking at the social aspect, looking at the legal aspects. So looking at AI risk in this sector, which is a quite unique an initiative that we have started, I felt we can contribute a lot, and that's why I felt this would be a timely initiative.
Awesome. Just sort of building on that. So for someone who's never thought about AI and food together, can you give us sort of an example of what it would look like on a farm or in, say, a food plant?
Yeah, so just imagine one of the examples that I can give you is around mushroom harvesting. So as you know, the traditional way of which is still being used, mushrooms, it's not from the labor perspective, it's not very user friendly. It's not easy to keep the staff labor because it's not a very convenient work environment, and a lot of training goes to bringing new labor to the work environment, and they may leave, and the operation may be impacted. So with the mushroom harvesting project, there will be a completely new production system with robots deployed. And robots that are trained. And if you just think about computer vision, a very simple aspect of the entire mushroom harvesting that I was working on, training these tools to identify what mushroom has to be harvested and when, whether it's just harvesting for production or harvesting for pruning so that mushrooms can grow effectively. So just imagine computer vision that points to certain mushrooms, and a labor, instead of going through intensive training, they can pick up the mushrooms. So that's a simple application. And then going one step forward, selecting specific mushrooms and pulling them out based on the also environmental factor and then historical data. So that will completely impact the mushroom harvesting production, efficiency, because the robots can work 24/7. In terms of training and labor, they can do something that's more effective rather than just picking the mushroom. Maybe they can have oversight over the production or take care of other things in the production environment. So that's one example. In terms of food processing environment, the other example would be how these tools can monitor staff and provide them with guidance in terms of hygiene, how they should wash their hands or how they should protect the environment. Maybe monitor again some of the labor and give them feedback in terms of training, if that's needed, and also precision that can be brought to food processing. Having robot to take certain actions, whether it's moving stuff or whether it's identifying food, identifying problems on the packaging. So there are so many different ways that these tools can enhance human decision making. So let's keep in mind that these tools cannot, and if you look at the AI for all strategy, there is a huge emphasis on designing AI tools with human and for human. So the idea is not to replace human. The idea is to help them to work more effectively and efficiently.
Every day there's something on TV or in the media on AI. I feel it's creating a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. For the farmers to want to adopt this technology quickly, trust, I think, is going to be an important area. Can you kind of do a bit of a deep dive into your feelings on how we can help um, farmers and users and agribusiness navigate, all the uncertainty out there?
Sure. So trust is absolutely critical. Again, if you look at the AI for all strategy that has been announced, trust has been highlighted throughout the strategy. Because trust will enhance adoption, will enhance data sharing, which, foundation of AI is based on data. But first thing, and trust is quite a new, I would say, research area. So for us to understand why the end users do not trust the AI and then what can be done to address it. So agriculture and food is no exception. We have to, as part of this research, we can do a very comprehensive analysis in Ontario, in Canada, why farmers or other stakeholders may not trust these tools, find the main issues. But if I want to go from the governance perspective and break down the entire AI lifecycle to understand what's going on in the AI lifecycle, and then maybe dissect, some of the issues around trust, I would say data sharing, who has access to it, how it's being used, how farmers benefit from data is a huge concern. Some privacy, but based on my discussion, I think it's the business, kind of aspect of it. It's their asset, and they feel they're not benefiting enough from their own data. So that's a major concern. Then the usefulness of AI tools, so they invest so much in these tools, and they may not find it as useful as it is because they are not built to be deployed within their processes. Usually when we develop AI is embedded into a process that is well defined, and so it becomes easy to use. It's not a burden. So that's another issue. The issue around reliability, or if AI is doing what it's supposed to do, so that's another problem, because maybe again it hasn't been designed with the farmers in mind, so maybe they don't find it reliable, robust enough. What happens to their data? They don't find it useful, user friendly, because it adds to their. We know how busy farmers are, producers are, and then it adds to their daily activities. And then many other reasons. It may be the connectivity could be an issue. The cost is a major burden. So all of these together, I think it impacts adoption. But in terms of trust, it's the data issue, it's the robustness, potentially cybersecurity risk. And they say if we don't adopt, maybe we don't need to worry about cybersecurity risks. So it's a collection of issues that may impact their trust and decision to adopt a new technology.
Yeah, and I think that's something that made sort of AI for food a bit different, was focusing a lot more on this trust piece, because like looking at previous reports like FCC's report, I think it was over 80% of farmers did not want to adopt new technologies because they didn't know what people were doing with their data or who owned the data. And I think that's a really important piece, because I think you're going through all of this stuff and not knowing sort of what's happening with it, it has put sort of a damper on it and makes you not want to move forward. I think with a lot of this technology, are you seeing it being adopted, I guess, differently by large operations versus small operations? And do you think that's going to continue to sort of widen that gap where operations are going to need to continue to get larger and using this new technology?
Um, I think larger operations, that justification for adoption of efficient, a type of AI technology that works is more relevant, because larger operations, larger number of labor, more complexity. So if AI can help in any decision making, it could be a simple decision making, a repetitive job that will save time for the labor. I would say they are more prone, and maybe in terms of capital, they have and they are in a much better position to deal with the cost of AI, solutions and maintenance, because AI has to be maintained. as well. And I guess there will be a cost associated to that as well. So I think larger operations has more justification, but hopefully with agentic AI, and because agentic AI will impact how we develop any solution, whether it's decision support system or physical AI. Now there's a lot of research going on how agentic AI can train robots, hardware. How can be embedded into a hardware? So I'm hoping the pricing in the long run, not immediately, will be the cost would be a little bit more manageable. And then a smaller operation can adopt it as well. So we will gradually move towards making it more affordable, but it may take time.
Dr. Dara, you've assembled a very impressive team in this initiative. Do you want to highlight a few of the people that are helping you, investigate and research some of these new areas?
Absolutely. So I started this work with Dr. Maria Cordani. She's world experts around food. That's an area that I didn't have expertise in, and she's very well versed in AI as well, which is quite impressive. So she's the co-director, and together we have oversight over, so we brainstorm ideas and we reach out to organizations and try to move the initiative forward. I also have very impressive group of researchers, which we are gradually adding. From the University of Guelph, Dr. Medhat Musa, he's an expert in robotics. I cannot think of anywhere I go and talk to about agriculture and robotics, his name will come up. Then I have Dr. Tanzili, who is more qualitative type research, but Michael, as you mentioned, trust, for example, in AI, that would be she can contribute to it. Dr. Zhao Zhao, human AI interaction, very, very interesting. Dr. Neil Bruce, again, ethical and responsible, but very fundamental AI, computer vision as well. So we have several AI experts as well. Dr. Gurjit from our department, who is a combination of AI and again robotics to some extent, but also on the subject matter expert poultry industry, poultry health, we have Dr. Shine Sharif, and cow health, we have Dr. Kristen Edwards, and on the kind of plant breeding, we have Dr. Mohsen Yousefzadeh. And, we have lots of experts, and we try to invite these individuals to be the head for the sector, because as you know, I'm a computer scientist and Maria is also a food safety, food integrity expert. So they are the head and they can move the initiative forward. And then, but if they need any type of support for AI, ethical AI, and human interactions, we have them support the project. So and we will look at the gap and invite more people, but I think as a head we have quite good support. Then we have also invited people from international. So we have a social scientist who will add. We have a legal expert who is already added. We would also like to offer, ontology as a service. So there is a group in BC who have started an initiative called Food On. So that's around data harmonization. So he's coming on board. We have another expert, Dr. Kamali. She was working one of the top AI, kind of companies. LLM as a service is something we want to work on. So she will join us as well. So we are gradually still building the team. And also your Joe Dales, I mean, your dad, who's known across, in Canada as a strategy advisor with both government and industry, more specifically industry. That was a huge gap that we had, and I look forward to working with him because his advice, his experience would be extremely invaluable.
Well, we want you to be successful, and we know how hard it is. So yeah, connecting the dots between industry and farmers and your team, I think are really going to be important. So happy to support you on this.
So we are very excited. Very excited. Yeah.
So for farmers and food processors listening to this podcast, so what does AI4Food's work actually look like on the ground?
So one aspect we want to So there are a few aspects that we want to bring to with AI for food that hasn't been addressed. And most important one is to make our solutions farmer centric. So whether it is the governance aspect that has to be human centric, especially in this context, farmer centric, or other actors, yeah, understand their concerns around data sharing, understand their concerns around AI not being user friendly, or any other trust concerns that they have, as you mentioned, Michael, because I think that's an important piece, especially for adoption of technology. So human centric, either it's design, the technical design, we talked about AI not being transparent. There are many simple solutions that can be embedded into these technologies to make them transparent. I mean, the solution, they don't have to be rocket science. It's just we as engineers and computer scientists, we are not paying attention to what farmers need because we don't know what their needs are. If we know what their needs are, we can embed that into our technology and make it more user friendly. I mean, at least some basic stuff can be addressed immediately. So what we want to do, any aspects that we want to tackle, we want it to be end user centric and especially farmer centric. So I'm hoping for AI4Food can immediately address that. And also one other aspect that's missing and huge attention has been given to it in other sectors is around AI risks. AI risk in healthcare, AI risk in education, AI risk in science. And then we have launched the first initiative around AI risk in agriculture and food. Understanding what the risks are, it will help us address them proactively. So we are building a repository. So hopefully all the effort and then, understanding where AI is moving, new AI technologies, agentic AI, with the expertise we have and maybe collaboration with other universities as well, we can develop solutions that are, again, more useful, ethical for the farmers and for the stakeholders we are developing the tools for. And also really help the industry and startups to understand what the issues are and address them proactively. What is, say, ethics by design, governance by design, and also human-centric by design. So
yeah, it's terrific. I think what I find exciting is initializing that dialogue between farmers, agribusiness, and the experts, and we'll try to get them to communicate what they think they need and start those relationships with the AI4Food initiative. Is there anything that you want to say to our audience that will direct, how can they help? How can they engage? Any thoughts there? And we'll develop that over time too, right?
We developed that over time. So far we have had few events, National Dialogue, which was brought the experts from across Canada to talk about some of the issues around AI in agri-food. Now we want to go, and the report came from the feedback that we received from them. But now we want to work with actual people who are the end users of these technologies. So there will be workshops organized or maybe networking events organized, or we will participate in farm shows, for sure. So, but we want to make AI4Food very much grounded around the end users, so that's our goal. So we want them to feel included, because any technology, if you think about our mobile devices, hundreds of thousands and millions of people have contributed to, testing and making it more user friendly. So obviously we cannot bring that crowd to developing the AI tools, but definitely we can engage the farmers and other end users in this process. So what we want to do, we want this to be an interdisciplinary approach. If government, industry, farmer organizations, or farmers, they have issues with the technologies, we want to hear about it. We want to co-design with them. We want to co-organize workshops with them to address issues that they think would have impact on adoption of these technologies or improving development and testing and validations of these technologies. So we want to engage as much as we can, and we want to do it through the right process so that the impact would be, on the technology and processes. But I look forward to working with RHA, with you, Joe, specifically to create that ecosystem, at least in Ontario or in Canada, for us to be able to contribute. So really, my ambition is to make even small contribution to enhancing AI technology and adoption in this sector. So hopefully we can work together to make it happen.
Well, I just wanted to thank you, Dr. Dara, for joining us today. And I just wanted to let everyone know if you want to learn more about AI for food, you can go visit their website at AI4Food.ai, which will also be posted in the description to learn more about their research, government toolkits, or how to get involved. And I just wanted to thank everyone for tuning in to the Ready, Set, Grow podcast, and we'll see you next episode.